Good evening and welcome to NTV Weekend Edition on this 20th day of April 2019. Ahead on the broadcast. Tonight, turning the heat on the church in graft war.
Churches being used as avenues for money laundering.
Raila unveiled attack on Deputy President William Ruto on use of the pulpit to launder what he calls blood money. Also tonight, running away from the single source of truth.
Nimeshaaga watoto wangu, familia zangu nimwambia bye bye. Tusipoonana bye bye. Bye bye.
Busia man sells property, packs his bags and leaves his home. His problem, he cannot accept Huduma number. Plus, chaos in Kapenguria town. The launch of a movement based on a political jibe. We tell you why Malumaluas is causing all the political ruckus in West Pokot. And grief visits former President Moi's family. Tributes as former rally driver and politician Jonathan Moi breathes his last, aged 66.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Flora Atieno. Now, ODM leader Raila Odinga has criticized the church, accusing it of being used as an avenue for laundering money which has been corruptly acquired. Odinga, who was speaking during a funeral service in Nyakach in Kisumu County, said it is immoral for leaders to continue contributing money in harambees without disclosing their source of income. The ODM leader also reiterated that the fight against corruption is not targeting anyone, as Silas Apollo reports.
Speaking at a funeral service in Ahero, Kisumu County, ODM leader Raila Odinga said the church has become the breeding ground of corruption. Odinga took issue with the contribution made by politicians to churches during harambees. He says the large donations were money stolen from public coffers and which politicians take to church to cover their tracks.
You're seeing churches being used as avenues for money laundering. Laundering money which has been corruptly acquired. And we cannot fight corruption if we do not fight its tentacles.
In a thinly veiled attack on the Tanga team led by Deputy President William Ruto, Odinga says it is immoral for politicians to continue contributing large sums of money without disclosing their sources of income.
Every weekend, this church 5 million. This is a 5 million. The other one 5 million. One weekend 15 million. And your salary is only 1 million per month. And in the whole month you donate 100 million shillings. And you don't even show us where these businesses of yours.
The Orange Party leader at one point hinted at possible arrest during an address in Ahero Township after the public asked him about the action to be taken against the corrupt. The statements by Odinga are likely to renew wrangles within the Jubilee Party, especially with the camp associated with DP Ruto, who've linked the fight against corruption to an attempt to block Ruto's presidential bid. Ruto has on a number of occasions accused Odinga of using the handshake to rock the Jubilee Party from within. The DP has also not fallen short of defending his handsome donations to churches, which he says are legitimate. Raila also defended the handshake, adding that he will accompany President Kenyatta to China this week to seek funds for the extension of the SGR line from Naivasha to Kisumu. Odinga said the Beijing visit will pave way for a loan of 350 billion shillings for the construction of the Kisumu SGR line, which will help revive the Kisumu inland port. Officials from the Treasury, Kenya Railways Corporation, Ministry of Transport and State Law Office had last week held a meeting to discuss details of the proposed line ahead of the official signing.
Handshake is about good governance in our country. Looking at how Kenya is being governed. What is it that we can improve in our governance structure? What is still missing?
Silas Apollo, NTV.
Now, 4 Huduma number clerks sent to register staff at the Nairobi hospital have been infected with cholera. This brings the total number of patients hit by the disease to 71, 58 of whom have been admitted at Nairobi hospital, which is catering for the patients' medical expenses. NTV's Mel Miendo with those details.
The situation at Nairobi Hospital is worsening. 13 Huduma number clerks were sent to register the hospital staff. 11 of them were reported to have complained of stomach pain, having eaten meals at the hospital. A statement from the Nairobi County Kilimani Division confirmed that during the 2-day process, the clerks were offered breakfast, lunch and 4 p.m. tea by the hospital's management. On the 18th of April 2019, all the clerks were informed to report at the facility. Since that day, 4 of them were admitted. 6 of the clerks are said to still be waiting for their test results. 1 tested negative. Just a week ago, 54 people were hospitalized at the Nairobi hospital following the cholera outbreak. One of the staff members was reported to have died from the disease. Currently, 6 other patients are admitted at the Kenyatta Hospital, 6 more at Mama Lucy Hospital, and 1 who is a staff member at Nation Media Group admitted at the Metropolitan Hospital in Buruburu, Nairobi. So far, outbreaks have been reported in Kajiado, Narok, Machakos and Kiambu counties. In Mombasa, the health department is on high alert, especially with the high influx of visitors for the Easter holiday. Experts now raising concern that the disease outbreak shows the government's lack of commitment to contain preventable diseases, urging for the strengthening of effective health systems in the country. Mel Miendo, NTV.
Now, 1 more person has died in Marsabit as a result of the Kala-Azar disease outbreak in the county, raising the number of people who have been killed by the disease to 7 in the last 3 weeks, including 3 children. 21 more patients are receiving treatment at the Laisamis Sub-County Hospital, while 7 others are admitted at the Marsabit Referral Hospital. Hard-hit areas include Logologo, Kor and Laisamis, with officials in the health sector warning of a worse situation if the outbreak is not contained. NTV's Melita Oletengeis has those details.
The Kala-Azar protozoan disease, which is transmitted through a sandfly, has continued to affect hundreds of residents in Marsabit County. 1 more person died on Friday at the Marsabit Referral Hospital while undergoing treatment, raising the death toll to 7 in the last 3 weeks, with 21 patients admitted in the Laisamis Sub-County Hospital and 7 at the Marsabit Referral Hospital.
Daily, we have been receiving almost from 2 to 5 patients daily, mostly from Logologo, who have been diagnosed with Kala-Azar.
They are from Kor, they are from Kargi, they are from Laisamis here. It's not one village which is affected, it is all villages.
Since March, 44 people have been admitted to the Marsabit County Referral Hospital and tested positive for Kala-Azar. The disease is characterized by weight loss, fever, decrease in blood level, and the enlargement of the liver and spleen.
Hiyo ugonjwa imekaa sana kwa mwili yake na ijaonekana, bado tu damu inaficha. Na hiyo wakati yote mtoto ako mgonjwa, bado tu damu yake inaenda tu chini.
They do not know even the signs and symptoms of this disease. And again, they still want health education.
Kala-Azar in Marsabit has mainly affected herders with nomadic tendencies. The sandfly mainly thrives in the nomad's house structure.
And this sandfly mostly stays in ant hills and in mud houses, or the local traditional houses where there are small holes or mud walls. That's where the sandfly mostly hibernate.
People started spraying in Logologo. 100 households were sprayed and some nets were distributed, but still there are many cases which are coming up.
The disease is costly to treat, and even though the county government and the Kenya Red Cross have moved in to mitigate the outbreak's effects, more help is needed. Drought experienced across the country has also been cited as a major factor in the rise of Kala-Azar in the region. Melita Oletengeis, NTV.
Now listen to this. Residents of Mubwayo village in Budalangi constituency in Busia County are still in shock after a local preacher sold off his belongings in readiness to run away from the government's Huduma number registration. The preacher has since convinced a number of his congregation who are ready to move with him to Buyindi Island in Yala Swamp, where he says no one can access them. Zacchaeus Mosami with that story.
Since the Huduma number registration exercise was launched by President Uhuru Kenyatta, Kenyans and foreigners from all walks of life have been turning up at different registration centers to take part in the digital listing. But in Mubwayo village in Budalangi, an elderly man who is a preacher in a local church is having none of it.
Hatu nipeleke mbele ya Uhuru rais wetu, nitamwambia hivyo, sishiki.
Peter Lugehe of Reformed SDA Church claims the Huduma number exercise is satanic and he cannot participate in it.
Nimekuambia mambo ya Huduma number mimi sijui. Mimi naongea kuhusu Biblia kama mhubiri ambao naangazia unabii. Hiyo ni ukweli mtupu. Hata nitakupatia facts wewe uone.
Lugehe is not alone. A number of his followers have sold off their property ready to leave Kenya.
Nimeshaaga watoto wangu, familia zangu nimwambia bye bye. Tusipoonana bye bye. Bye bye. Either nitaishia court, either niishia wapi? Hebu mitume swalishia court. Wakina Petro walikufa vifo gani? Kama ni msomaji wa Biblia. Persecution ilikuwa walipersecutiwa.
Lugehe's unusual reaction has elicited various reactions from the residents.
Huduma namba haingekuja kama kwanza hawajahusisha mwananchi kwa sababu kupitia kwa wabunge wenyewe waongee.
Muda yenye imepeana kwa huduma namba ni muda kidogo, ni chache sana kwa sababu wengi wa wananchi wa Kenya hawaelewi huduma namba inamaanisha nini.
Naona si la muhimu sana. Sababu pia kama Maraga pia ni mtu SDA. Tajaiuza magorofa sake na hizo zako zenye umeng'ang'ana upate unaanza kuuza. Mimi naona wewe ujinga.
Sasa wacha mambo ya uchawi na uganga na story sijui hii ni ya shetani. Shetani gani? Shetani tunamjua, shetani hakai kama Huduma number.
If it is a number that can identify us properly as a people of this country for better planning of the nation, then I support it. I have already myself and my family actually have been registered.
Zacchaeus Mosami, NTV, Busia.
Interesting tales coming about as a result of this Huduma number registration. I wonder what we are looking at next. Now, a man has been burnt to death after he refused vigils to be conducted for his son who had committed suicide. Mushiri Mureithi, who is a court clerk in Murang'a County, was attacked in his home by an irate crowd, beaten up and burnt inside his house in Gatumbi village, Kirinyaga County.
This is the aftermath of an arson attack that has left one family in Gatumbi village, Kirinyaga County, planning 2 funerals. Mushiri Mureithi earlier this week lost his son, who according to villagers had committed suicide. Vigils were arranged against Mureithi's wishes.
Mtoto wake aliaga alijinyoka siku ya Alhamisi tarehe 16. Halafu watu walikuja maombolezi, akatakataza watu wafanye maombolezi.
Maombolezi ilikuwa ikiendelea kwa nyanyake na huyu mzee akaenda akafukuza watu akatoroka huko.
Huyo mtoto wako anakaa na yeye juu ni mke wa kwanza na alikuwa wamekosana hapo kidogo. Kwa hivyo mtoto alikuwa anakaa kivyake, halafu Mureithi alikuwa anakaa kwa boma lake akiwa na bibi huyo mwingine wake.
Mureithi, who is a court clerk in Murang'a, went back home and unknown to him, mourners followed him and attacked him.
Watu waliingiwa na hasira, wakamgonga na wakamtoa kwa nyumba kwenye alikuwa amejifugia, alafu wakachoma nyumba yake na wakamchomea huko ndani.
Property of unknown value was destroyed in the incident. One of the deceased sons narrowly escaped death. The village now mourns a father and a son and will have to make expanded funeral arrangements to accommodate a second family member.
Now, several people were injured in clashes that rocked the official launch of the Malmalwas movement in Kapenguria Township in West Pokot County. The event turned chaotic after supporters of the county's governor, John Lonyangapuo, tried to stop it.
Leaders and supporters of the Mulmuluas movement led by Dennis Ruto, famously known as Mulmuluas, were in Kapenguria town to launch their new movement. However, the venue of the launch quickly turned into a battleground. Supporters of West Pokot Governor John Lonyangapuo could not stomach Mulmulua's activities and decided to disrupt the event. The youth descended on the followers of the new movement. This forced Mulmulua's members to run for their lives. Several people are nursing injuries after the ordeal. The youth allied to Lonyangapuo took away the Mulmulua's public address system, tents and chairs, forcing Mulmuluas and his supporters to relocate to Jacaranda area near Makutano police stage to address his supporters. This comes a few weeks after Governor Lonyangapuo criticized Dennis Ruto and famously described him as Mulmuluas, a description that Dennis Ruto termed as a lie. He, however, embraced the name politically.
Kijana fumbi amenona round, huwezi jua tumbo ni wapi, mkongo ni wapi.
At first I almost felt bad because actually that is body shaming. It's not right. That is criminal. But anyway, at the end of the day, I laughed it off.
Lonyangapuo's remarks have not only made Dennis Ruto famous, but also rejuvenated his political career in West Pokot County. Mulmuluas appears to have become a critic who Governor Lonyangapuo cannot ignore. The two have been engaged in a political feud, with Mulmuluas accusing Lonyangapuo's administration of abetting corruption and misuse of public funds. Dennis Ruto is now seeking to use the Mulmuluas movement to politically send Lonyangapuo home, a move that has put their supporters at loggerheads. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Kijana mfupi amenona round, taking advantage of his new title. It's called politics. Now, during the 2018 national school examinations, the country was shocked by reports of a high number of pregnant candidates. The upsurge in the teen pregnancies is turning out to be one of the biggest headaches in the education sector. The reports indicate that the country could be staring at a crisis if the issue of teenage pregnancies is not amicably addressed. It is because of such scenarios that some people have argued for the need to introduce comprehensive sexuality education known as CSE in schools. However, the church remains adamant that sex education must not be introduced in schools. They are arguing that providing such information to the youth will be giving them a license to engage in sexual activity. This quagmire informs our special Sunday feature, Teens with Kids, which will broadcast tomorrow at 9 p.m. Take a look.
Nilipata mimba mwezi wa tisa mwaka uliopita. Mimi nilikuwa innocent. Boyfriend wangu alikuwa akinipea pesa, ndo akalala na mimi, ndo mimi sikujua kumbe nitapata mimi.
These children are very active.
The need to provide sexuality education for Kenya's youth remains a sensitive subject.
The church is totally opposed to the so-called comprehensive sexuality education.
The moment we come out and face the reality head-on and address it, whether it's through sex education, but it's something which must be addressed.
Allow it to be disseminated in our institutions is very destructive. I could even call it pornographic.
Make sure you join us tomorrow at 9 p.m. for Teens with Kids. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we tell you about the late Jonathan Moi, who died today. Welcome back. Now, Jonathan Moi, a former rally driver and the son to former President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, is dead. Jonathan is said to have succumbed to a long-term illness at a Nakuru hospital on Friday evening, and his body has since been moved to the Lee Funeral Home in Nairobi City. Residents of Kabimoi, where the late Jonathan has a home, have eulogized him as a generous man who never shied away from helping the needy. NTV's Bridget Ngana was at Kabimoi in Baringo County and filed this report.
Hours since the news of the demise of Jonathan Moi broke and grief was palpable here at Kabimoi in Ravin, Baringo County. For the residents, they had lost a leader, friend, and a benefactor who never got tired of doing good. Qualities they say were very consistent and similar with the late Jonathan's father, retired President Moi.
Tumepoteza mtu ambaye sijui ni nani atasimama kwa pengo lake. Tunaambia Mungu asaidie familia yake, asaidie mzee sana ili apate nguvu ya kusimama na hii shida.
Huwa anasaidia watu kwa mambo ya shule nini. Ni mtu ambaye anapenda maendeleo. Roho yake alichukua roho kama ya mstaafu baba yake.
Nilikuwa na mchango ya dispensary ya Rama na akakubali on the spot kwamba tuende, na wakati huo akawa mtu wa kwanza kutoa shilingi 1,100 katika Rama Ravine constituency kwenye mchango.
Tumekuwa na JT hata alipokuwa akienda safari rally, tulikuwa tukienda kushuhudia yeye kwake nyumbani, na pia amegombea viti vya ubunge kwa muda. Kwa bahati mbaya anakuwa akikubali, akishindwa anakubali tu.
Jonathan is said to have been taken ill for quite some time before succumbing at a Nakuru hospital on Friday evening. He is the first among the 5 sons of the retired president. In the 80s and 90s, he participated in local World Rally Championships. He retired from active politics after a failed attempt to clinch the Eldama Ravine constituency seat in 2002 and mainly led a quiet life. President Uhuru Kenyatta led other leaders in condoling with the Moi family, saying Jonathan was humble, kind, generous, and a courageous person. The president adding that JT's word was always his bond. Former President Kibaki described the deceased as a self-efficacy and private person who will be remembered for his breakthroughs in motorsporting, farming and business. Jonathan's brother and Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, while confirming his demise, described Jonathan as a selfless family man who was amiable, social, down-to-earth and an industrious human being. He called for understanding and indulgence to allow the Moi family mourn privately. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga sending a message of condolences to the Moi family from Nyakach.
Churches being used as avenues for money laundering.
Details of Jonathan Moi's private life, such as his family, remain scanty. Bridget Ngana, NTV.
May his soul rest in peace. Now, a group of leaders from the coast region are up against the privatization of the port in Mombasa. The leaders say the move is tailored to benefit a select few who have deep pockets. The leaders say many civil workers will lose their jobs if the move is actualized. The 27 billion shilling second container terminal was to be run by the Kenya National Shipping Line in collaboration with the Mediterranean Shipping Company.
Kenya National Shipping Line is a dead company. Right now, for the last 10 years, these guys are unable to pay rent. Paying rent of the office they cannot pay. How will they run KPA, a rent that can only pay around 50,000 Kenya shillings per month? And they are staying in Cannon Towers. So we cannot accept a company that cannot run himself to run KPA that is in millions. That is
lolote ukilipatia private company ni kumaanisha wale wananchi watakuwa hawana haki. Kwa hivyo sisi kama wabunge tumelisikia, wametueleza. Hata sasa hivi tukitoka hapo tunakwenda kupata tuzungumze na wale wahusika wa Blue Economy. Kwa sababu kama wabunge wa Pwani, nafikiri jambo hili litakuwa linatuhusisha sana sisi. Kwa sababu katika wote wale ambao ni wabunge, sisi wa Pwani hatuna rasilimali nyingine. Rasilimali yetu ni bahari. Na ikiwa bahari tutaipeana kwa mikono ya mabomu nyenye, ni kumaanisha sisi tutakuwa tumepoteza kila siku.
Ni kwamba
viongozi pia wanalaumiwa kwamba sisi pengine huenda tukanunuliwa kwa sababu ya jambo hili, lakini sisi kama viongozi tumewapa ahadi, hatuwezi kuwa upande mwingine, tuko na wao. Na hili swali la kwamba port inakuwa privatized haijatokea kwa viongozi vizuri. Hatujaona thibitisho ya kwamba inakuwa privatized unless labda wanafanya kichini chini. Lakini ikiwa jambo hili ni kweli, sisi viongozi kwa msimamo mmoja tumeamua hatutakuwa pamoja na serikali ikifanya hivi.
Now let's take another short break on NTV Weekend Edition. When we come back, this is what we have for you.
Butterfly ni mahali ambapo ni pazuri kwa mwanadamu kuishi.
How the declining population of butterflies is taking with it the aesthetic value it brings to the environment. Welcome back. Now, in the 1990s, the fluttering of butterflies was a common sight. But in the present day, the beautiful creatures seem to be slowly disappearing. I'm sure you might agree. A fading of the country's beauty, if you may, which unknown to many means doom for the environment and the ecosystem. Fatma Bugu reports on a simple creature that makes a great difference in the ecosystem.
They come in all colors and sizes, their beauty a sight to behold. These insects are more than just aesthetically appealing. They play an important role in the sustainability of the environment.
Kwa sababu butterfly ni one of the key indicators of any polluted area. Mahali popote ambapo kuna butterfly ni mahali ambapo ni pazuri kwa mwanadamu kuishi.
These species aid in the propagation of plants. Their flight from flower to flower sees them perform a crucial function. Their pleasant nature makes their presence easy to accommodate, unlike other insects.
Butterflies do feed on fruits or nectar or wet places. They can drink water from a wet place that way. Butterfly does not chew, does not bite. They depend on long proboscis to get any kind of liquid thing for survival.
A butterfly's lifespan is only 3 months and it only mates but once, a dance that can extend up to 24 hours.
Whenever they are mature to mate for production, goes for 24 hours, and after 24 hours intercourse, this remains that way.
The beginning of a butterfly's life is one that shows resilience and a transformational narrative that shows beauty can come from unlikely place. It starts as an egg, typically attached to the underside of a leaf. The egg hatches into the butterfly's larval form, the caterpillar. A caterpillar's job is to consume enough food from a specific plant based on their species to sustain itself during its transformation into a butterfly. This transformation takes place in the butterfly's pupal stage, when the butterfly is inside its chrysalis. Finally, an adult butterfly emerges from chrysalis, first significantly inactive and slowly in leaps and bounds growth in strength. Very few butterflies make it to adulthood on account of predators who prey on them during the early stages of life.
Ground black ants, lizards, the spiders, all those are the predators of butterflies.
But these beautiful creatures are dwindling in numbers across the city and the country at large. Out of the 871 species of butterflies worldwide, Kenya only has less remaining. The reduction of green spaces is one of the reasons why the butterfly population is rapidly declining. The concrete jungle that we now live in, coupled with increased pollution of the environment, has led to the creatures' retreat from the urban areas.
The way we enlarge our cities, we have to clear the bushes. The way we do horticultural, we have to clear the bushes. The species depends on plants, and the species is 6 families worldwide. So each family has a specific plant that they depend on for production.
But in every calamity, there is an opportunity. The scarcity of the insects in nature has opened up an avenue for enterprising people to farm them and earn a penny from these insects.
Inategemea na how active the butterfly is. Kwa mfano kama citrus butterfly inaanza 100 mpaka kufikia 300. Unajua kuna butterfly mwingine ukimweka yeye ametulia tu mpaka umsumbue, na kuna mwingine yeye anapeperuka kila wakati. Sasa wageni wanapenda sana ule wa kupeperuka kila wakati.
This butterfly park project was started in 2003 with Araboko Sokoke being the biggest center to protect the butterflies.
The aim of having the project here is mostly to sensitize our tourists, our local people. Why should we have the butterfly being protected?
But what are some of the challenges they face just to ensure that these butterflies are safe?
Unaweza kutafuta njia yoyote ambayo unaweza ukasaidia ile mimea yako instead of using chemicals nyingi ambazo you end up hata wewe mwenyewe pia kwa kuspray a lot of chemicals to your garden, pia wewe mwenyewe inakudhuru.
Butterfly Park is a convenient stopover for traveling visitors. Here, the visiting families had an amazing experience, educational and inspiring tour.
I didn't know how long it took to become a butterfly. So I've learned how long it takes to become a butterfly now.
Efforts to save the butterflies are ongoing. Key amongst them, reduction of environmental pollution. Saving the environment is not just an issue anymore, it is a survival truth.
Ningesisitiza kila mtu awe anaweza kuwa na mazingira ya kupanda miti, awe na uzoefu wa kupanda miti, kupanda matunda, kwa sababu vipepeo ni kirembesho cha nchi.
What is important is not to keep the butterflies. What is important is to protect the trees. If you protect a tree, then we will have our very important natural butterflies in our environment.
Fatima Bugu, NTV.
Such a beautiful story. We all have a part to play, in fact, to ensure that we conserve and protect the environment, just so we can have the beautiful creatures one more time. Let's take another short break. When we come back, we tell you news from the international front. Don't go too far.
touch, and Kenya is a hub of athletic talent that stretches from one generation to the next. However, the country is losing stars from the past generations at an alarming rate, with 3 icons passing in the last 6 months. Tonight, we celebrate multiple Commonwealth and Olympic gold medalist Charles Asati as our living legend, with a reminder that we should give people flowers while they can still smell them.
Legendary Charles Asati, who is considered one of the most accomplished Kenyan sprinters of the 20th century, was part of the 4x400 meters gold-winning quartet at the Munich Olympics together with Robert Ouko, Julius Sang and Hezekiah Nyamau.
Walikuwa wanakataa ati wewe ndio utaanza tu. Hakuna mtu anataka kujitolea. Hakuna, mpaka nikaanza tena. Nikaletea Nyamau pia.
Alongside Daniel Rudisha, Hezekiah Nyamau and Naftali Bon, Asati had won the silver medal in the same race 4 years earlier at the Mexico Olympics.
Na wakati nikimbia 1968 nikimbia 100 meters, 200 na relay.
Born in 1946, Asati also won gold in 400 meters and 4x400 meters relay at the 1970 and 1974 British Commonwealth Games. He also boasts of a 400 meters gold medal at the 1973 All-Africa Games. The multiple Olympic and Commonwealth gold medalist retired from athletics in 1978 and ventured into sports administration.
Nilikuja nikaingia kama mwenye komiti ya kufundisha vijana tena kutoka hapa.
The 72-year-old is now a tea and coffee farmer in his rural home of Manga, Nyamira County. Ida Warenga, NTV.
Charles Asati, a living legend. And it was a good day for Mombasa sides in the SportPesa Shield as Bandari and SS Asad advanced to the semi-finals. In the FKF Women's Premier League, Gaspo Youth beat Thika Queens in a 7-goal thriller, while the national under-15s team lost again in the Mediterranean International Cup.
There was coastal delight in the SportPesa Shield as Mombasa-based Bandari FC and SS Asad sailed into the semi-finals at the Mbaraki grounds. Kenyan Premier League side Bandari cruised to a 4-1 win over fellow top-tier side Western Steamer. Meanwhile, SS Asad bagged a 2-1 win over fellow FKF Division 1 side Congo Boys. The semis lineup will be completed on Sunday, with Kariobangi Sharks facing giant conquerors Bungoma Superstars, while KCB face Bidco United in an all-NSL clash. Gaspo Youth and Thika Queens served up a 7-goal thriller in an FKF Women's Premier League encounter played at the Ruiru grounds, with Gaspo emerging 4-3 winners. At the Oserian grounds in Naivasha, hosts Oserian ladies drew 1-1 with Kisumu All Starlets. And Makolanders were gifted easy points after Vihiga Leeds failed to honour their fixture. The national under-15 team lost 1-0 to French side ASM Belfortain to cap a tough outing in the Mediterranean International Cup. David Olmer's Chargers lost 3 matches and won 3 in Costa Brava, Spain, and will now jet back on Tuesday. Kenyan Premier League leaders and defending champions Gor Mahia will face Ulinzi Stars in Kisumu in the pick of Sunday's 4 KPL matches. Sofapaka, who are level on points with Kogalo but with an inferior goal difference and having played 3 more games, travel to Awendo to face Sony Sugar.